Alright, we're back. It is 2 December, and gosh, I'm just cranking one of these out every day now. Probably next week I'm probably gonna start doing like every other day, because I got another project I gotta work on there. So but hopefully we're moving forward here. But I tell you, it's a lot of work to get these timelines going. You'll see what I mean when we get into the timeline a little deeper there. But we're gonna keep going on this fantastic video from the Dealey Plaza UK Canterbury Conference. This is Brian Edwards. In case you missed my other videos, he's a former policeman and SWAT team member, and we're going over his point of view on how he would do the assassination, how he would set that up, and what he sees with this Dealey Plaza here. Alright, so we'll keep going, and I'm going to try to finish this up, but I may not be able to finish it today.
Put my best shooter right up in here, because the target's coming right at you. You almost can't miss, and you're certainly going to hit something. There's your kill zone for that shot. You're standing on the bridge, or you're in a kneeling position. You're shooting from the shooters from behind have a straight line shot, and you have a straight line shot. I think this is the kill shot right here. It's from the bridge. Well, the final analysis is, I think, from my perspective, from a tactical law enforcement bad guy position, if I was going to set this up, this was a military-based operation with mechanics, shooters who knew how to do their job. These were not the first time, they weren't putting the rookie guys in there. These people have done this before. These were skilled hunters, these were mercenary types who would do whatever they get, whatever you were telling them to do.
And again, he's saying almost exactly what I said, is that it's a military operation. These are trained, skilled military guys, and if you think about it, and you go through all the different groups, who's going to have at least for the shooters, what category are those shooters going to be in? Okay, so let's start off with the CIA. Well, you could have skilled military guys in the CIA also, but most of those guys are going to be intelligence oriented, not as military oriented. Okay, and frankly, you wouldn't want that many assets in one place, because they could easily be traced back, to find out where those guys are at. Let's see. Let's just say some southern redneck. What do you want to call them? Southern redneck Klansmen. Well, none of those people, or most of those people, wouldn't have the coordination, the military skills to carry out an operation like this. They would just be shooting randomly from whatever position they could get to. They wouldn't have the communication devices to be able to communicate like this. So that's my opinion on that. Let's say we got a bunch of anti-Castro Cubans. Okay, well, they're gonna stick out, just like the guy in the window on the 6th floor stuck out. He's Cuban there. The guy at the corner of Houston and Elm who had the epileptic seizures, Cuban, he stuck out. The guy who's beside the umbrella man with the headset, he's sticking out. Okay, now these Cubans also aren't going to be as militarily skilled at ambushes like some of our military guys. Okay, let's say, what about a mafia hit team? Well, first of all, the mafia rarely ever operates in large teams like this. It's usually 1 or 2 guys that do the hit, and then you have a driver, and it's usually close up with a pistol, just like you see in the Ruby. Very rarely does the mafia ever use rifles for long-range hits. Now they have, and like with Harrelson, they've used him, but that's usually through contracts. Let's see. What about the oil men? Okay, we'll lump in the oil man and the Dallas police. Well, you're a little closer there with the Dallas police, but again, the Dallas police aren't going to have the military skills to coordinate with the communications and the discipline to do this. I would say if it wasn't, you know, this anti-Castro white guys, conservatives I'm going to go into, it would probably be closer to someone in the Dallas Police Department that would be part of this. Now, let's see, who else we have here? Russian agents. Well, it'd be really difficult for them to be in there. They wouldn't know where to go. They would need some kind of local contacts to help them find the places to stay, to get into the buildings, to know the area to get away. Same thing with any kind of Cuban agents. Let's see, who else is there? Oh, French assassins, Corsican mafia. Well, again, the same circumstances. They wouldn't know the area very well. They wouldn't know the terrain very well. They would, again, need a team of people to help them get in and out of buildings, to show them the terrain, to have safe houses for them to stay. Very, very difficult. And then, of course, we come to the very last, which is my prime suspect, are these mercenary, white, conservative, ultra-right-wing guys who are training the Cubans, maybe going on with them to missions to Cuba for assassinations and ambushes exactly like this. Okay, so they're ex-military. Some are just mercenaries who've, worked on CIA projects or worked for cash in other parts of the world. But they all have one common thing, is that they're all ex-military, maybe even ex-special forces. They've definitely worked operations for the CIA. And they definitely trained these Cubans in doing exactly this in Cuba. Executing Cuban officials, trying to execute Castro. So that, and another thing, a lot of them would be from the South. A lot of them would even be from the Texas, Dallas area. A lot of them would have connections with people in the Dallas area. It'd be easy for them to fit in. They wouldn't be sticking out. You got white guys in a white city. Okay. They could walk around carrying hunting rifles in downtown Dallas, and no one would give a shit. Okay. So anyway, that's who I think did it. In the final analysis, my final analysis, these white, ultra right-wing, conservative CIA operatives, not CIA agents, but people that are being paid cash by the CIA, okay, to train these Cubans in No Name Key and then north of Lake Pontchartrain. That's who we're getting back to, keep hearing about with Bannister, on they're working with the Cubans there. That's who we keep coming across. Find out where those people were, and I've made a list, and I'll get into that later. Find out where those people were, and all the people that didn't have a really good excuse for not being in Dallas, that they weren't in Dallas, those are probably your shooters right there. And like I said, you're going to need, let's see, 3, 3, 3, 9, 10, 12 guys for the shooting teams. And then you've got an assault team, 1 or 2 assault teams of 3 guys, or counter assault teams. So you're talking 6, 18. You got a couple of spotters and observers, maybe in the post office, maybe in this building over here. So we're up to 20. You've got other guys lining the route. Okay, 10, 20 guys lining the route. And then you've got a couple of people with vans or Rambler station wagons to quickly grab the guys so they can exit. Then you've also got other periphery guys that are running the safe houses, okay, bringing food, bringing radio equipment. You've got the guy over in the fair park, a couple of guys there. So I'd say all in all, we're looking at a little bit less than 100. Okay, and there's people financing with the money. There's always got to have people with the money, and that's coming from the CIA or the mafia or whoever. So we're probably looking at least 100 guys in Dallas itself. Okay, not counting other places. Anyway, we'll see what else he has to say here.
They position people behind, to the side, and to the front. There's no escape. This was a classic ambush situation where there's no place.
Oh, also I forgot. You've probably got another fire team at the Trade Mart, another fire team at Parkland Hospital, and another 1 or 2 fire teams around Love Field. So that's even more guys. But still, that puts you within the 100 range.
Place for you to go. The car has to stay on the street, and it's going to get, even if it stops, you're dead. You're dead. If you back up, you're still dead. You can't. There's no place to go. This was the optimum location. That X on the Elm Street that's your kill shot. So I know I went through this pretty dang fast. It's 54 minutes, and I got any questions you might have, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you, Brian. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, that's great. Any questions? Yeah, Bart has got a question.
I've got a question about the sort of sniper's nest that we showed earlier, and the heights that are on the wall. I saw a picture of showed earlier this morning as well.
Right.
I don't know if you can go back to that slide, but basically for a right-handed shooter, I happen to shoot him myself in the military days, and I found it absolutely near impossible to take a shot from that window with these
Yeah.
heights on the way, because
Right.
typically forced you to go at an angle that isn't really natural. I think it's the shot before that, it's the shot before that, where you can see the pipe coming to the left of the window.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's basically also a few peninsula away from the window as well.
Right.
It makes your shot more difficult to take.
Right. It forces, this pipe forces you to point the rifle in this direction, but if you use this box as a tripod or as a gun rest, you're still this is still gonna be in the way. And the picture I had of the FBI of Cortland Cunningham, the firearms expert, I'm making the firearms expert, and they didn't even consider, here it is, they didn't even consider that pipe being an obstruction or a problem. And that's why they probably moved all the boxes out of the way, no gun rest box here, and put a little tripod down and put the gun out the window. I mean, hell, I could have made that shot with not even looking. But you're right, Bart, that this pipe is going to be a problem. Yeah. Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I even mentioned that earlier.
Yes. Mike.
I think part of that was if I was a shooter behind that fence, let me go to that picture. if I was a shooter behind that fence, I'm going to have my security guy or my spotter with me, and I'm going to toss the rifle to him, and I'm going to put the gun in a car trunk or whatever. But yeah, and also Joe Marshall Smith, the Dallas police uniform officer who was stationed at Elm in Houston, immediately ran behind the picket fence and encountered a man. He pulled his gun on the guy, and that's what Ed Hoffman saw. He pulled the gun on the guy, and who was in a suit and a hat. Of course, everybody wore hats back in the 60s. All the men wore hats just about. But he says, I pulled my gun out on this guy, and he showed me, he reached in his pocket or his coat and showed me he was Secret Service. He says, at the time I was figuring, what am I going to, why am I pulling my gun? But I think that was a shooter. Absolutely no doubt in my mind that guy was a shooter or a spotter. He might have been the security guy. And the shooter might be long gone, might be hiding in the trunk of the car. But yes, two officers encountered somebody behind the fence immediately after that. You kind of broke up there. I didn't hear all.
The question, Brian, was the HSCA concluded that there was a shot from the fence, but however it missed. Is that at all plausible that you can miss from that range?
I could have. I'm going to talk about, just speak from practical experience. If I was that bad and I missed the shot at 40 yards, I shouldn't even be holding the rifle. But it's possible. Why position somebody there that's not going to hit the target? You're as close as you're going to get. 40 yards is closer than any of the other shooters. I could have been a distraction. Why would you want to call people's attention to that? That's your hide. That's for two teams of shooters. Why would you want to call?
And again, the HSCA doesn't mention, okay, who is the guy? How is he related to Oswald? He'd have to be related to Oswald in some sense. That's a conspiracy of some kind. But they don't go into that. They don't go into, they just say there was a shooter and he missed. It doesn't make any sense.
Distraction. I think that was an actual shot. I think that shot hit him in the side of the head instantaneously with one from behind. And I don't want to get into the sequence of shots because I don't know. It doesn't really matter because the autopsy pictures don't tell us a damn thing. But I think as far as somebody shooting from that end and missing, I find that unlikely. Remember, these are professional killers. These people are probably military trained. They can hit when I practiced, I was on the sniper team. I didn't show you that picture, but I was on the sniper team for 8 years on my police department, and we wouldn't shoot paper targets because that's too easy to hit. We would shoot Tootsie Pops at about 50 to 100 yards.
Wow.
And that way, if you aim small and miss small, you're going to be able to hit something really big. Let me show you that real picture quickly. But as far as that's me on the right or on the left, the picture. Shooting a .308 Remington high caliber weapon with a bipod and a 4x. What did I have? I had a 3.5 by 44 scope. We used Hornby full match 150 grain full metal jacket, hollow point bullets. I can guarantee you at 40 yards I won't need a scope, but I'm going to hit my target. Guarantee you. But as far as missing, I don't know how they could speculate that a bullet missed when they don't have the bullet. I don't know how they do that. But yeah, I think there was two teams of shooters behind the knoll.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Another question there from you, Matt?
Which one, Phil?
The Bill Newman slide where he's being interviewed on TV.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it looks like it's reversed. I think it is on the where I grabbed it from. It is reversed, and he was pointing to the other temple. He should be pointing.
you put too much thought into that, because if you were just to make a practical report, you didn't know how much or you necessarily say where
Right.
you really look for that.
Right. Right. But if you listen and watch the whole interview, Newman says it was right behind us on the garden, and then the reporter, I can't remember his name, he says, "You mean at the book depository?" I don't know where he got that information so quickly, but Bill Newman reiterated and said, "No, it was behind us. We were in the line of fire. That's why we threw ourselves down on the ground." But yeah, I think this picture is reversed, because Newman was sitting on the left side or on the right side of the interviewer. So I think wherever I got this, they flipped it, so it's not in the right place. But I think he does point to the right.
Actually, we'll play this, but I think this picture is correct. I think the reason why he's using his left hand and pointing at his left head, he's just saying that the president got hit in the head. He's not pointing in a point where the president got hit in the head, because he's got his son here, so he's holding his son with his right hand. Okay, a lot of people, if they're right-handed, they're going to hold something with their right hand, and then he's using his free hand to show the president got hit in the head there. So I don't think that's the point where the president got hit, but we'll play that in a couple minutes and I'll show you.
Definitely. When he hits it, because the Newmans could only see the right side of the president's head anyway, because of where they were. You know, the ironic part of that whole Newman thing. I've interviewed them multiple times. They're good friends of ours. We correspond with them quite frequently. And of all the people in the assassination that were there were 12 to 15 feet from the car, and they saw the devastation of the headshot. They were never called to testify. Now, is there a reason for that? Yeah, there's a reason for that, because they would have said to the Warren Commission, "Yeah, we were standing in a line of fire. The shot came from right behind us."
There you
We're not
go.
gonna let that happen. We'll take your deposition. We'll look at your affidavit, and we'll look at it, and we won't consider it. But if anybody,
And again, it's that selective process. Like I said, all these people were giving depositions, and then the FBI could forward those on. The council, I guess you could say, the Warren Commission council could selectively cherry pick the the people they wanted to come and put on the record, okay, for the Warren Commission. So they could cherry pick which one of these testimonies or depositions backed up what they were the story they were trying to sell.
he was going to be called the Warren Commission, these would have been the first people. Marina Oswald had no information about the assassination. She was in Irving. This guy was there. They didn't call him.
One other observation would be mind putting up this where you examine the length of the rifle and how it operates.
I'm sorry, the length of the what?
Yeah, if you could put up the slide with the different lengths of the rifle, the colour
Oh,
code.
sure.
Colour
Sure.
code. Yeah.
I wish I could have interviewed Howard Brennan. I would have really made him look stupid.
Yeah, Howard Brennan said that he could see 70 to 8,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should your arrows be on the barrel and not really stopped?
Okay, well, let's do that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That would be. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
Okay, so you're going to see.
But in which case, the very shortest one, if really may well stop short of stops.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, good point. I'll change that. But do you see?
And see, that's the thing, is that you can't be perfect in everything. See, this guy is experienced and he knows what he's doing. He still makes a mistake. That's just the way people are. People are fallible. You can't say, oh, because this is wrong, everything else is bullshit. You can't say that. Everybody has something to offer. Not everything they offer may be perfect, may be exactly right, but they all have something to offer, and this guy was right on the money on 99.9% of things. I even mentioned this, but but he is making a good point. Even though the graphic isn't right, it's still, if you could do it from here to there, they would see, that's 50% of the weapon. 75% of the weapon sticking out would be about right there. 25% sticking out would be right there. I'd say about that much if the weapon was sticking out. But because if you get past that, then you've got, Oswald's got to have his hand right here holding the stock. If you get any further past that, then his hand is sticking out the window, which I doubt. Then Oswald would have to be leaning into the window.
But you see where I'm going with it. The way he phrased it, 70 to 85%. That's strange to me. Like he was rehearsed, or like he was told, okay, you're from that position, you're only going to see this portion of the car. Ask him, how much of the rifle did you see? Well, I saw from the tip of the barrel to about halfway to where the trigger is. And that would have been more reasonable as far as that goes. But yes, I will change that. That's a good point. Thank you for that. Yeah.
So, whether it's 36 inches or 40.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. I had a question regarding, which I hadn't considered before, but was the locating the target. In previous motorcades with the double down, did Kennedy sit back right?
So also let's look at something here. So if the full length of this is 36 to 40 inches, look, if you dismantle and take out the stock, take out the barrel, we're only talking 3 to 4 inches right there. So even if it's at its shortest at 36 inches, let's say this is 6 inches. You're looking at 30 inches there. Now if you take 30, 5 by 12, that's 2.5 feet. Okay? Wesley Frazier said that the package that he saw was less than 2 feet. That would have been about maybe here. So how does the rest of this stock not stick out of the paper bag? What was Wesley Frazier looking at? You could easily take this rifle, just the stock part, lay it in the back of Wesley Frazier's car, okay, and then take the paper bag and lay it in the back of Wesley Frazier's car. I don't know why they didn't do this. Take pictures of it and just look at it and compare. Matter of fact, I think there's even a picture of the rifle and the paper stock. I'll have to find that. But yeah, we'll find that. Hold on one second. Alright, so we're going to get into some photos here. These are not in any particular order, but I was thinking of something when he was talking about the length of the rifles. So this is the assassin's lair, I guess you could say. The window would have been right here. These are stacks of books that are used to block, and then these are where the shells were found. So when he fired, they ejected, and then maybe this is the first one, the second, and the third. Again, I'm just going through these kind of randomly. Again, this is the what do you call it? The second floor lunchroom. Okay. Now this one's interesting because Baker said that he saw through the window that Oswald was walking away from the door, and that's when he went in and confronted him. But if you look at this door, there's no window there, and I believe this was taken right after the assassination. But I don't see a window. I see a window over here, and I'll show you where that's at. The Coke machine is going to be over here. So Oswald, according to them, according to the Warren Commission, in 90 seconds, Oswald ran across the floor, wiped his prints off the paper bag and the weapon, hid the weapon, went down 4 flights of stairs to the 2nd floor, went to the steps over here, came in, fumbled for his change, got a Coke from the Coke machine, walked back over to the door, turned around, and started walking away from the door again when I believe Officer Baker, spotted him through the window that doesn't exist there, and then confronted him with his gun. Alright, this one's interesting. The police put all this together. I don't know why they would put all these different items from different locations together, but they did. So you have, this is the shirt. Oswald's wearing a t-shirt, but he was also wearing this brown shirt over that at the school book depository. Now he came home and changed this shirt. Okay, took this shirt, put another shirt on, for what I understand. Or maybe, no, maybe I'm not sure. Anyway, so that was either found on him at the Texas Theater or left at his house, or his room. This is supposedly the pistol that was found on him at the Texas Theater. This is the blanket, okay, that was found in Mrs. Payne's garage that Marina said that he kept the rifle in. And again, there's the paper sack, okay. Now, why would Oswald use the paper sack, okay, to carry the rifle that morning when he had been using the blanket or something else to carry the rifle to go to the shooting range, to go shoot at Walker on the bus? Why wouldn't he just use the same blanket? He could still say the curtain rod's in there, but they're using this bag. Now this bag is much different than it was on the day that it was used by Oswald. Look, there's a whole coating of oil on here. Now, why the FBI would destroy this with the oil, I don't know why. It just, you know, and to say that Oswald's fingerprints are on here, this is not the same bag condition that it was when Oswald, because Wesley Frazier didn't say there was a oily bag, it was just a paper bag. Doesn't make much sense. Here's one of the supposedly rifle rounds, and then this bag supposedly was found in the school book depository, okay, and then these rounds and notes were found in Oswald's room. So we've got a mixture of different evidence. This is from Oswald at Texas Theater, Oswald at Texas Theater, this is from Mrs. Payne's garage, this is from the school book depository, and these are from Oswald's rooming house. Why would you mix all that evidence together like that? It's cross-contamination, actually. Now, this is an FBI photo for the Warren Commission of the rifle. And so we're going to do a little bit of science here, okay? They don't do this very well. You know, a good investigation exhibit would have this measurement here going from here to here and have the complete measurement. But we're going to help out the FBI and do it ourselves. Watch this. So as you can see, it's inches. You see that? Let's see. So they're starting off at 0 to 1 inches, and they don't even start it off at the end of the barrel there. Okay, so hold on one second. We can do this for them. And here's another thing. Before we measure it, I want to show you something about this rifle. This rifle, in order to be dismantled, you're going to have a screwdriver. Where was the screwdriver? There was no screwdriver that was found with the paper bag. Okay? And see this part right here? That's where the bayonet would go. But you're going to have a screwdriver to unscrew this and take this piece off to dismantle it. Okay? Then you're going to have to take this piece off right here. Then you can take out the stock, or take out the barrel from the stock. Okay? I imagine you could probably just leave the trigger guard there. But the funny thing about this weapon, if I remember correctly, you'd have to unscrew this to put the clip in. And then you're going to have to take the scope off. So you've got 1, 2, there's another one where it connects right there. 2, 3, 4, 5 things you're going to have to do just to get that barrel off. Okay? Which is fine. You can do that at home. So he puts it in the bag, and then he brings it to work, and he's sitting up there. When does Oswald have the time? Okay? Because I'm going to show you where he's spotted all the way from 11:45 all the way to 12:25. When does Oswald have the time to go up to the sniper's nest and reassemble this weapon? It's going to take 5-10 minutes, and there are people constantly going back and forth to that 6th floor because they're working on the 6th floor, dismantling it. Is he, did he take it to the bathroom and assemble it there and then carry it over or up the stairs and then over to the sniper's nest? People don't even talk about the assembly time involved. He's going to nervously be assembling. And then another thing, after you've assembled it, you're going to have to sight your weapon. How are you going to sight your weapon if you can't fire a test shot? Okay? That's going to take a couple of minutes to sight your weapon. The weapon, when they found it, was completely out of alignment. They had to put 2 shimmies underneath the telescopic scope just to get it to line up correctly. So it doesn't make this flimsy piece of crap weapon. Oswald, just imagine the scene. Oswald's carried his package up there. There's guys running back and forth, pulling up boards on the 6th floor all morning from 8 to about 11:45. So he's either gone to the bathroom and assembled it there and somehow got it over to the window, or he's gone over behind the boxes hoping that no one will hear him or see him, and is assembling this rifle and trying to sight it, hoping that no one would come over and say, "Hey, what are you doing over there, Oswald?" Doesn't make much sense, does it? All right, so let's do some measuring here. Hold on a second. All right. So you can't see these little, on my screen I've got these little dots down at the bottom. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the rifle with my little dots, or my little dashes there. And there's the rifle. Okay, so this 1 inch is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of my little dashes on my screen here. Okay, and then from the rifle to the 0, okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I've got 20 little dashes. So from the barrel to the 0, okay, divided by 20 divided by 8 is 2.5 inches. 0.5 inches. And then we'll use this measurement here. Alright, we'll use this measurement here. So let's see how far. Right, I'm going to have to blow it up here. So let's see, we got, if in the little bar here there's an inch, and in that inch there are hold on one second, there are 1, 2, 3 of those little bars there, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 8, 29, 30, 31, 32. Okay. So from the trigger to the end of the stock is 32 of my little bars here. Divided by 3 per inch. That's 10.6 inches from the trigger to the stock, and then the part that's missing here from the 0 to the end of the barrel is 2.5 inches. And then if you look at their measurement, the rest of the body of the weapon is 24 inches. Let's just do a little math here. So 24 inches plus 10.6 plus 2.5, 37.1 inches. Okay, so divided by 12, this weapon is 3 feet long. Alright, we'll do some more measuring. So here's the end of the stock. Okay, we know from here to here is 2.5 inches. Okay, and then from the end of the stock down is 3.5. Okay, so if you add 2.5 and 3.5, that's 6 inches. Okay, so if the length of the total rifle is 37.1 inches total, I'm writing this down, broken down, let's see, minus 6 inches is 31.1 inches total. There we go. So this is just basic math. I'm sure the FBI is much better at measuring and math than I am, and I'm going to show you something. Alright, so here's the bag. This is the FBI's exhibit. Here's the bag. They're using the same, what is it, 24 inches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, 24. This is the back, open end of the bag right here. Okay, so this would have been folded over. So you take this and put it at the end there. Now in each inch on my little bars there are 1, 2, 3. 3 little bars. Okay? And let's see here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 divided by 3 is 4 inches. So 4.3 inches from here to the end of the bag is 4.3 inches. The rest of this we know is 24 inches. Okay, and we'll go to the other end of the bag here. And I'm showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 divided by 3 is another 7.6 inches. That's the left end. Plus 24, so you got 4.3 on the right end, plus 7.6 on the left end, and 24 inches is 35.9 inches. That's 3 feet. 35.9 divided by 12 is 3 feet. Now, now we have a problem, okay? Because this bag that the Warren Commission, the FBI, is saying is the bag, does fit those dimensions, okay? Because if you break down the rifle, it's 31.1 inches. The length of this bag, if this is the bag, is 35.9 inches. The rifle would easily fit inside this bag. The only problem is this the bag that was found? That's the only problem. Another problem is, you know, obvious about Wesley Frazier's statement, is that Wesley Frazier said that the bag was 2 feet long. Okay? This is 2 feet right here. The bag would be 2 feet long. That would be the bag that Wesley Frazier would have right there. Now Oswald, let me see if I can find a picture of Oswald's height. Hold on one second. Alright, so here's the problem. And we're going to use this mugshot of Oswald back in New Orleans in the summer there. Now, his records show that Oswald is 5.8 inches tall. That's about 68 inches. And I'm going to use my little dashes here on the side as a comparison. Okay? So, Wesley Frazier said that Oswald tucked the package under his arm and held on to the other end here. So from his armpit to the end of his fingers, okay, we're going to measure that, and we should come up with a number, because I'm going to use my little dashes over here. Hold on one second. Alright, so it's 68 inches from head to toe, and I've got 34 dashes, so each dash is going to represent about 2 inches. So from his armpit, we'll go up in here. We'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that's 12. 12 times 2 is 24 inches, which is about 2 feet. Just like Wesley Frazier said, it's 2 feet from Oswald's inside his armpit to the very, very ends of his fingertips. It's 2 feet. That's about the length of the package Wesley Frazier said he saw. The problem is that the weapon that we measured is, when broken down, is 31 inches. Okay? Let's measure that. So 31 inches divided by 2 is going to be 16 or 15 and a half of my little bars. So if we go from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay? There. So, the weapon broken down would be way below Oswald's hand. He wouldn't be able to cup it. Remember, Wesley Frazier said that Oswald cupped the bottom of the package. He tucked it under his arm, and then he cupped the bottom of the package, and that's 2 feet. That's what Wesley Frazier said. It was 2 feet. He saw the package sitting in the back of the truck. Very easy to identify, 2 feet. But if you take the length of the rifle broken down, it hits him about just above his knee. Doesn't make much sense, huh? And I want to say something about this picture. Look at Oswald. This is over, he got out in 59. This is 4 years after he got out of the military, the Marines. Look at him. He still looks like a soldier. Look at that profile. Look at that face. Look at that stance. That's a soldier right there, okay? Usually people start slacking off after they get out of the military, Oswald is still a soldier. But for who? Is he a Cuban revolutionary? Look, he's still even wearing his Marine, I think that's his Marine band right there. Look, he's got a pen in the pocket. Shirt is pressed. He's a soldier. He's on a mission. What is his mission, huh? This is not some goofball beatnik revolutionary. That's a military stance right there. I'm taking this for the team because I'm a soldier. Look at that. Look at that, those eyes. That's not some crazed lunatic revolutionary. That's a soldier working for his government right there. Okay, I'm making a sacrifice. I know this is going to be on my permanent record, but it's for the good of the country. Because once I get on the record as being a revolutionary and getting arrested and going to court, then that's going to bring out the other, that's going to ferret out the other communists. They're going to try to seek me out. And then I can report back to the government who those people are. This is a soldier on a mission right here. Anyway, this soldier couldn't hold that rifle because that damn rifle would be down to his knees if he had it in that paper bag. Alright, so this is the paper bag that the police found at the depository. Notice the difference? You see the coloring? It's a completely different bag. It's even shorter. Look, from the guy's bent arm, it sticks up above his head about a foot. If this guy is 5'8", that bag is about 2.5 feet long. It's shorter than the other bag. It looks different than the other bag. I mean, look. Hold on. You see that bag right there? That's what they said they found. You see that bag right there? That's where the police found it right after. Within minutes of the assassination. This is after the FBI got a hold of it. It's not even the same fucking bag. This bag is thicker, has covered with oil. Where's the oil? This is a flimsy paper bag. Not even the same bag. Let's see, hold on a second. I mean, does that look like the same bag to you? Hold on, let's try something. That looks like a completely different bag. You see these thick lines here? Where are these thick lines? Why is this bag completely darker? Doesn't make much sense. Anyway, the fucking FBI substituted another bag, is what my conclusion is. This is not the same bag. This bag doesn't even have the same lines. I mean, look at it. This is almost like a canvas bag. This is an obvious thin paper bag. This is covered in some kind of oil. You know, if the FBI put oil on it to pull fingerprints, they destroyed the evidence on the bag. Doesn't make much sense. Again, this bag is 35 inches. Lee only had 24 inches from his armpit to the tips of his fingers. Just like Wesley Frazier said, 2 feet was the length of the bag. There's no way this bag could fit with the rifle underneath Lee Oswald's arm. Alright, this is Bill Newman with his children, and I'm going to show you that he's just using his right arm because that one's, or his left arm because that one's free.
So what happened to you?
We just come from left field after seeing the president and the first lady, and we were just in front of the triple underpass on Elm Street, and we're at the edge of the curve, getting ready to wave at the president. So
You were down under the viaduct, so to speak, weren't you?
well, we were halfway in between
On the grass
triple underpass. We were at the curve when the incident happened. But the president's car was some 50 feet still yet in front of us coming towards us, and we heard the first shot, and the president, I don't know who was hit first, but the president jumped up in his seat, and I thought it scared him. I thought it was a firecracker because he looked, fear. And then as the car got directly in front of us, well, a gunshot apparently from behind us hit the president in the side of the temple.
Do you think?
There you go. You see, he's using his left hand because he's holding his baby. See how he's expressing with his left arm and hand. And did you notice that he said the shots came from behind us and hit the president in the temple? The temple. Not the left temple, but the right temple. Okay, but he's using this hand just to say it hit him in the temple. Now, how could, if say this is the president's head, the triple underpass, the grassy knolls over here, the sixth floor is over here, how could the bullet enter the president's temple here? It would have gone in from behind. So there you go.
I think the first gunshot came from behind you too?
I think it came from the same location. Apparently back up on the mall. I don't know what you call it.
This is within a couple of minutes of the assassination. This is always the best evidence, because later on people start to doubt what they heard as they read stuff in the newspaper and they see things on TV, and then the government's just pounding, no, 3 shots from the school book depository. They start to doubt what they saw. So this is unfiltered, straight from the source.
For the benefit of nomenclature, all you folks have gone out under the viaduct, and as you turn, going under the viaduct on the left-hand side, there's some grass. Do you think the shot came from up on top of the viaduct toward the president? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Not on the viaduct itself, but up on top of the hill, a little mound of ground or the garden.
How far away would you say that is from where the president was? A couple of 300 yards, something like that?
Well, I have no idea because I didn't see the
definitely not 300 yards.
Come from. We were looking directly at the president when he was hit, and he was more or less directly in front of us, and we didn't realize what happened until we seen the side of his head whenever the bullet hit him in the head.
Did you see the blood coming from the president's head?
Yes.
All right, just a reminder, and then we're going to close up here. This is Bill and Gail Newman, just seconds after the shot and a couple of minutes before they're doing this interview. So these newsmen, one of the newsmen grabs them, takes them back to the studio, and the police haven't even interviewed these people, and they're being interviewed on TV. And then you see them again right here. There's Bill and Gail Newman right there. And then, of course, there's the signal guys, and he says behind him, it's up there. See, they did exactly what most people would do. If someone is shooting from behind you, you're going to drop down to get out of the way, but you're also going to turn and look to try to see where the shots are coming from. Okay? And that's just pure instinct. You have to go with pure instinct. What are people doing on instinct? And that tells you where things are really happening. Okay? These people are ducking down here. There's Bren, because he knows that there's shots coming. And look, they're even looking in this direction. The policemen are stopping and looking. The policeman's running in that direction. So there's a shooter here. Maybe there's a shooter here and a shooter here. By this time, by this photo, their guns are in the cars and they're already walking away. I think that one of the shooters is probably that guy right there. There's another shot here. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Yeah, right there. I think that's one of the shooters right there, or the spotters. Okay. Because see, now the police are going to start running up there. They're going to be confronted, and Joe Marshall Smith and Seymour Weitzman are going to confront a guy that says he's with the Secret Service. Matter of fact, I'm going to read that real quick. All right, this is Patrolman Weitzman. It's also, you know, he's on the scene here of the assassination. Also, interesting to note that he was the one, I believe, who found the rifle. But it says here, he says, and how many shots did you hear? 3 distinct shots. How are they spaced? First one, then the second 2 seem to be simultaneous. You see, he's not the only one. See, the Warren Commission, when they printed this report, is a fantasy because everyone is saying something that's not in the Warren Commission report. And then he goes on and says, immediately I ran towards the president's car. Of course, it was speeding away, and somebody said the shots or the firecrackers, whatever it was at the time, we still didn't know the president was shot, came from the wall. I immediately scaled that wall. What is the location of that wall? It would be between the railroad overpass. I can't remember the name of that little street that runs off Elm. It's catty corner to the section there. I don't call it the monument section. He's talking about, you know, he's talking about this section right here. Okay, so what he did is he scaled this wall and ran back behind there. Alright, we'll keep going. Did you go into the railroad yards? Yes, sir. What did you notice in the railroad yards? We noticed numerous kinds of footprints that did not make sense because they were going different directions, because that means they're fleeing. Were there people there beside you? Yes, sir. Other officers, Secret Service as well. And somebody started, there was somebody in red in the street. There was something red in the street, and I went back over the wall, and somebody brought me a piece of what I thought was a firecracker, and it turned out to be, I believe, wouldn't quote this, but it turned out to be over one of the Secret Service men. Turned it over to one of the Secret Service men. I told him it should go to the lab because I think it looks like a human bone. I later found out it was supposedly a portion of the president's skull. That you picked up off the street? Yes. So he's giving it to people that are saying they're Secret Servicemen, and there are no Secret Servicemen in the area. So this is part of the counter-assault team, I believe, that they're distracting the police and saying they're Secret Servicemen. They're actually also picking up evidence. And then here he says that they've discovered the weapon. And so it says here, in that statement you made to the Dallas police that afternoon, you referred to the rifle as a 7.65 Mauser bolt action. In a glance, that's what it looked like. So it is similar, the Italian Carcano is similar to a Mauser, but not exactly. So he was in the Air Force, he flew in a bomber, and ended up in a prison camp. I was overseas in Japan, he says. They didn't find the rifle until 1:22. So it took him almost 42 minutes to find the rifle, and then Oswald was already under arrest. Excuse me, Oswald supposedly had just shot Tippit at that time. He said there was one live round in there. Alright, so we're going to go to Marshall Smith. So it says here he was stationed at the intersection of Houston and Elm. So literally, he's right below the sniper's nest on the street. And he says, I started up towards this book depository after I heard the shots, and I didn't know where the shots came from. I had no idea because it was such a ricochet. And then he corrects him, an echo effect? Yes, sir. And this woman came up to me, and she was just in hysterics. She told me, they're shooting the president from the bushes. So I immediately proceeded up there. He proceeded up and immediately... So he's standing right below the sniper's nest, and he can't hear the shots. He can't locate the shooter, so he goes towards the bushes. Proceeded up in the area immediately behind the concrete structure here that is described by Elm and the street that runs immediately in front of the Texas School Book Depository. Is that right? I was checking all the bushes, and I checked all the cars in the parking lot. There was a parking lot behind the grassy back of the Elm railroad tracks, and you went down to the parking lot and looked around. Wow, it looks like he's leading the witness. Yes, sir. I checked all the cars. I looked in all the cars and checked around the bushes. Of course, I wasn't alone. There was a deputy sheriff with me, and I believe one Secret Service man when I got there. I got to make this statement too. I felt awfully silly, but after the shot and this woman, I pulled my pistol in my holster and I thought, this is silly. I don't know who I'm looking for, and I put it back. Just as I did, he showed me that he was a Secret Service agent. Did you accost this man? Well, he saw me coming with my pistol. Right away, he showed me who he was. So, Marshall, well, let's be clear here. Hold on a second. So Marshall is going down this street here, and he goes into the back area here where the cars are. He's got his gun drawn, and then this man comes up and showed me that he was a Secret Service agent. Did you accost this man? Well, he saw me coming with my pistol right away, and he showed me who he was. Do you remember who he was? No, sir, I don't, because then we started checking the cars. In fact, I was checking the bushes, and I went through the cars, and I started over here in this particular section, down towards the railroad tracks, where they go over the triple underpass. Yes. Did you have a basis for believing the shots came from, or where to look for somebody other than what the lady told you? No, sir, except that maybe it was a power of suggestion, but it sounded to me like they may have come from this vicinity here. Down around, let's put number 5 up. Keeps going. Now you say that you had the idea the shots had come from that area. See, they already knew. I mean, they got, the Warren Commission has statement after statement after statement after statement of people saying that the shots came from the triple underpass or the knoll right there. And they ignored them. And they only focus on the people who say they saw someone in the 6th floor window. I mean, that's like bullshit. If Oswald had been convicted, they would have gone to appeals court, and the appeals court would have thrown out a lot of this stuff and thrown out the case, because it's obvious from the witness statements that people were, seeing stuff down at the triple underpass, and the prosecution was totally ignoring that. Alright, so there you go. There's 2 guys that saw Secret Service agents in the parking lot, and there are no Secret Service agents in that at all there. They're all with the president or at the airport. Or excuse me, or at the airport or the Trade Mart. So someone is impersonating Secret Service agents.